Are you lost too, mister? The question cut through the airport noise like a soft bell in a storm. The CEO didn't hear it at first. He was staring at the floor, eyes hollow, phone dark in his hand as if it had betrayed him. The words came again, closer this time, smaller, gentler. Mister. He looked up and saw her. A little girl, no more than 7, wearing a red sweater with a loose thread hanging from the sleeve. Her backpack was too big for her shoulders, slipping down one side. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't scared either. She was just curious. Like she had found someone who looked exactly how she felt. I guess I am, he said quietly, surprising himself with the truth in his voice. She nodded as if that settled something important. Me too. That was how it began. Not with a boardroom collapse or a billion-dollar mistake, but with a child who noticed a lonely man in a crowded airport. And before this story unfolds any further, if moments like these touch something real inside you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. These stories only reach more hearts because of people like you. The man's name was Daniel Cross. The world knew him as a titan, CEO of a global tech empire, face on magazine covers, keynote speaker at conferences where people applauded before he even opened his mouth. But that morning, Daniel was just another delayed passenger at gate 47, suit wrinkled, tie loosened, life quietly unraveling. An hour earlier, he had walked out of a glass-walled conference room for the last time. The board had been polite, almost kind. Words like strategic shift and new leadership direction floated in the air, but the meaning was simple. He was done. 25 years of building, sacrificing, missing birthdays, anniversaries, funerals, and it ended with a handshake and a prepared statement. Now he was heading nowhere in particular. He had booked a random flight just to avoid going home to an empty penthouse that echoed too loudly with memories he never made. The little girl sat beside him without asking. She swung her legs, sneakers tapping softly against the metal seat. My mom says airports are where people go when they're changing their lives, she said. Daniel almost laughed. Almost. Your mom sounds smart. She is, the girl said proudly. Then her voice dropped. She used to be here with me. Daniel turned slowly. Used to. She's in the sky now, the girl said, pointing upward, not theatrically, just matter of fact. Not on a plane. Higher. Something tightened in Daniel's chest. I'm sorry, he said, and meant it more deeply than most apologies he'd given in his life. It's okay, she replied, though her fingers twisted the loose thread on her sleeve. My aunt is picking me up. I just wandered a little. You wandered alone, she shrugged. I don't like standing still when I'm sad. Daniel felt that sentence settle into him, heavy and familiar. He had spent his entire adult life running for the same reason. What's your name? He asked. Lily. I'm Daniel. She studied him carefully. You look important, she said. He smiled weakly. I used to be. Lily frowned, as if he had broken a rule of the universe. My mom said people don't stop being important. They just forget why they are. Daniel looked away, blinking faster than necessary. Their flight was delayed, then delayed again. Hours passed. They shared pretzels from a vending machine. Lily told him about her school, about how she hated math but loved drawing birds because they could go anywhere. Daniel found himself listening in a way he hadn't listened to anyone in years, fully, without checking his phone, without planning his next sentence. When Lily's aunt still hadn't arrived, panic crept into her eyes. Daniel saw it immediately. Hey, he said softly, lowering himself to her level. You're not alone. I'm right here. Those words echoed back at him, words he had never heard when he needed them most. Airport security eventually got involved. Phone calls were made. It turned out Lily's aunt had been stuck in traffic after an accident miles away. She would be late, very late. Daniel surprised himself by staying. He could have left. He could have boarded his flight and disappeared into another city, another hotel, another distraction. But he didn't. Instead, he sat with Lily on the floor near a window where planes took off one by one. Which one is your mom? Lily asked. Probably all of them, Daniel said. She sounds like someone who wouldn't stay in just one place. Lily smiled for the first time. A real smile. Hours later, when Lily's aunt finally arrived, cheerful, apologetic, exhausted. She stopped short when she saw Daniel sitting beside Lily, holding her backpack strap so it wouldn't fall. "Thank you," the aunt whispered after everything was explained. "I don't know what would have happened if she was alone." Daniel shook his head. "She wasn't alone," he said. "She found me." As Lily stood to leave, she hugged him without hesitation. "You're not lost anymore," she said confidently. "You just haven't figured out where you're going yet." He watched them disappear into the crowd, feeling something unfamiliar bloom inside him. Not success, not pride, but purpose. Daniel didn't board his flight. He went home for the first time in years. Not to hide, but to think. To remember. To feel. Weeks later, he did something no one expected. He turned down lucrative offers from competitors. He sold his penthouse. He quietly funded a foundation for children who had lost parents, creating spaces in airports, of all places, where kids could feel safe, seen, and not alone while waiting for their lives to move forward.